Hey subscribers, welcome to a review of last week's battle, stop motion battle, Battle 7, Season 6, Squats and Necrons. Squats, for those people who don't know what squats are, small little space dwarves, possibly called demiurge. Just Google it, but they're really old and one of my favourite factions, even though they're discontinued. Anyway, they get a run this week. And I'm just about to start the battle at the moment, so I've set the board up. Now if I just run through the storyline, looks a bit of an odd board, doesn't it? You got this house in the middle of all this NECRON stuff. So the idea here is two armies first. Squats, I'll get a good look at those in a minute. Squats, Necrons, right? I'll forget that guy, he's not in this one, he's a orc, gargant, monolith thing. And there's the rest of the Necrons. So, the idea is the Necrons have found a way to get from the demon world, Periculo, back to the old Periculo. So, this is actually inside the Black Pyramid in the original world. So, the idea is the Necrons find their way, they probably teleport out into here somewhere, find that their pyramid has been altered somewhat. So we've got the demiurge, the space dwarves. They have taken up refuge inside the pyramid because they have been eradicated from 40k history, basically, and so they're hiding out in this pyramid. And what they've gone and done is, because they're the good guys, they love the Emperor so much, they've decided to build it like it's part of Terra, this little church sort of background. They've sort of decorated it like in some of the Gothic themes from 40k. So the inside of the pyramid's kind of looking not like a pyramid, but more of a imperial type place. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, so my plan here is, you would have seen it last week, I'm just making it up, this part up as I go, is the dwarves are sort of sitting in this house. They come out, they see these crystals. They've had huge problems with these crystals because they keep growing back. Because they're dwarves, they're miners. I'm going to have this guy, maybe this vehicle here, sort of chip away and turn one of those crystals into maybe, like a pillar, one of those. So, that's their job. They've been doing this, restoring this pyramid and turning this battleground back into an imperial outpost. So all the Necron things are coming back because it's a Necron pyramid, right? So of course all these crystals grow back. Necrons come here and go, oh my gosh, what's happened to our pyramid? It's been completely decorated. We better try and take it back, and then we have our battle between Squats and Necrons. So it kind of links into last week's story, and I'm going to have more storyline elements, narrative elements to go with the old Periculo world, so I'll build into that too. So here's a quick look at the armies. I'll just have a quick pan across the army. So these are all pretty much old Squats. So you'll get a good look at these as the battle goes on. But these are the armies. Yeah, pretty much all bar a few authentic, essentially. And there's a couple of old Warhammer Fantasy Battle dwarves which I've included in there too. So excuse my camera work. I've spent an awful lot of money on camera gear, but I really don't want to spend any more at this stage. It's probably nothing to do with the gear, it's more to do with the operator, but yeah, can't do much about that. So that is the Space Dwarfs. Now on the Necron side, it's my camera that I use. Hoping to upgrade at the end of the year. I don't get paid, by the way, but for reviews, but I'm looking forward to a 90D if it's possible, if it's going to come out. So it's on my wish list. So we've got a obelisk, and these are the Necrons that are going to be in the battle. I'll just quickly zoom across. Lots of warriors, various destroyers. This is what we're looking at. I used this in the narrative section from last week. The idea was, I don't know if you remember the old Stargate with those things, kind of little rings as they teleported, so I was trying to do that. Didn't look anything like it, but I was trying. So that is the rest of the Necron army. As I said, lots of warriors, so they're going to come out somewhere over here and go to war with the squats. So there we have it. We have turn 1 coming up shortly, but before we get there, I'll deploy these armies on the board. We'll have a quick look at that before we get into the battle. Okay, stay tuned. Well, there we have it. That's the deployment. All the introduction scenes have been filmed. Over this side of the table we have a rather largish squat army. Lots of infantry, a couple of crazy contraptions there, a bit of a mining tool, lots of heavy weapons, lots of weapons ready to take down the heavy armour of the Necrons, but likewise lots of slow moving infantry. So over this side of the board we've got the Necrons, we've got the obelisk, which is going to be pretty hard to take down. It's going to be a primary target for the squats, and then we've got various groups of warriors, some wraiths, we've got a barge, Necron Lord, Necron Destroyer Lord, heavy destroyers, quite a few. We've got a shard just there, Deceiver. So we've got a lot of Necrons there. There's no real deep strikers for the Necrons. We've got a couple of groups up here for the squats. We've got some Easter eggs ready to come down and some gyrocopters. Love to deep strike that in there, but it's not part of the battle. Big Orc, Necron, Monolith, Gargant sort of variant, but not really fitting with the army today. So anyway, we have squats versus Necrons. We've got first turn coming up shortly. Okay, here we are at the end of the first half of turn 1, and the Necrons have had the first turn, and there wasn't a lot of activity really, because the board is just such a long distance between them at the moment. Not a lot of firing going on. No doubt the squats will move up towards that building in their turn, but over this side we had the obelisk basically drift out into the middle, operating as a large piece of mobile cover as the fire comes in from that side, because there isn't a lot. There's a lot of heavy firepower on the squat side, a lot of missile launchers, things like that, and mobile batteries and bikers and things like that, but you're going to need a lot to take down that obelisk there. So everyone else for the Necron side basically just came up behind. So we've got some warriors there, spider at the background there. Can't really get a shot off, as I've said, but that's really what it is. It's really Necrons moving across the board using obelisk as mobile cover. Next turn, squats in response. Here we are at the end of turn 1, and the squats have shambled their way across the board very slowly with lots of short legs. Movement of 3, if I remember correctly, from years gone by. So they started on the edge of the table here, and it took me ages just to shimmy these guys across, pretty much an afternoon. So we've got these guys have got heavy weapons, but they really can't sort of get a shot off really at the obelisk. They just had to take a position behind these pillars here. So that's those guys there. Get my shadow out of the way. There's one unit there, another unit there, one here. We've got the pirates at the back here, ready to make their move. Got some heavy weapons, just taking position behind this tree here. Haven't shot at the obelisk yet. We did have one from this mining laser type thing have a shot, and obviously didn't take it out, but shot it nonetheless. These other units here basically moving across the board. Try and get some close-up pictures of these guys, or just videos. We had the bikers and the mobile units here come up, and they actually got a shot off at the obelisk as well. I think it was a shot from the rapier unit there, took a shot, and these guys basically moved up the board. So that's basically it. These guys here, I can't really remember the names of them. Hearthguard, are they on bikes? It's been that many years. I'm really using Imperial Guard sort of rules for these guys as I'm playing with them. I'm not using old squat statistics, but anyway, that's what it is. Yeah, there's a dreadnought hidden down there, camouflage with the green crystal there. So I almost missed him there. And yeah, look, this guy here, can't remember the name. Not Hearthguard. Someone will pick it up. I can't remember. Anyway, it's late. I've been doing this all day. So there you go. That is the squats. Next turn is going to be mayhem. The Necrons are just going to walk in here and just vaporise the squats. Take out that unit at the front maybe. So that's the plan. We'll wait and see what the Necrons can do. Turn 2 coming up shortly. Necrons, turn 2. Leading the charge, we had the obelisk, who's just hanging out there, nothing to hide behind, just sitting right here. Vaporised a whole chunk of squats just there, took a whole heap of those out. All the rest of the Necron army basically moved up behind that. That's no doubt going to take a whole heap of fire from just about everything the squats have got, and they probably will take it out, but by that stage the strategy for the Necrons is that all the rest of their army will be in close range, ready to vaporise them and clean them up. So sacrificing the obelisk for the greater good, I suppose. Not that these guys are Tau or anything, but anyway. Moving across the board, we had barge here, shoot through there, take out a squat, and everyone else basically just moved up along the board. You know, they're probably going to get some conflict over this side at this next turn, but nothing to really speak of at this stage. We've got some deep striking units for the squats that are going to come out. No doubt try and pick a position around here to try and box in the Necrons, but nothing yet. So next stage we've got the squats basically trying to take down the obelisk. Second half of turn 2 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of the second half of turn 2. The squats have aligned themselves here in a firing line, Necrons along here. So not a lot of casualties at the moment. Necrons are really going to take advantage of that in a minute. But we had this unit of squats here just move up and fired, took out one Wraith that was sitting just there. All these guys basically came up behind the crystal here just taking cover. Same with these guys here. Large weaponry firing at the obelisk there, which is on its last legs. It's almost gone, but it's not quite yet. So that took fire from the bikers here as well. Those guys fired at the obelisk. We had all that fire at the obelisk, and this unit of squats fire and take out one sentinel from over there. So 2 sentinels, a whole heap of damage to the obelisk. And then over this side of the board we had all these units advance and fired and took out 2 of the bodyguard just there. So we took out 4 casualties. 4? 5. There was 3 that were taken out. Those are the casualties for this turn. So that's really where it sits at the moment. A lot of units haven't had their to shoot anything yet. We've got the squat pirates sitting at the back here, ready to do some damage, but not yet. So we're going to have the Necrons advance. There's a lot of Gorse weaponry in there, so they're going to cut through these squats really quick. Anyway, we've got the first half of turn 3 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of turn 3, and the Necrons have taken out a whole chunk of squats. The big move was the obelisk, which is on its last legs, just drifted here besides this in here and vaporised a whole squad of orcs, not orcs, squats basically. So that was a good move, but now that is pretty much on its last legs, and there's a lot of heavy firepower around here. Over this side of the board we had this unit of warriors advance, fire their Gorse weaponry into what was a largish group of squats. They got followed up, actually before they got followed up there was some fire from the spider there, and then it was followed up by some wraiths. So there's only 4 guys remaining, but one does have a power fist. He's going to cause some major damage, maybe not, wait and see. Anyway, we had our Necron Lord with his retinue come up behind the warriors, not really getting involved at this stage. This group of the barge, the heavy destroyer and the Necron warriors fired at the tank up the back there. Didn't take it out, but caused some damage. There was a fair bit of movement from these 2 units of Necron warriors. They came up into position. Likewise we had the Shard do the same, and that little crazy concocted unit of Scarabs, Wraith and is that Illuminator? I can never pronounce these names. It's easy to see them in writing. We had Necron Lord on a Destroyer Lord take out one of the squat bikers back there. Here's a casualty here. Okay, and then we had finally this unit of warriors just advance up the side there and take out 3 squats up the back there. So look, the opposing forces are basically faced off. We've got this channel moving through the middle, but the squats have a secret surprise next turn. We have a pile of Easter eggs over here ready to come out and deep strike, and I haven't done the turn yet, but my plan is of course the Easter eggs, come on camera, focus, there you go. The idea there is the squats come bursting out of the inn, as you do if you're a squat. They're obviously a bit late to the party because they've been drinking or whatever inside here, so they'll come charging out with guns blazing. No doubt that obelisk won't last too long and there'll be game on. Also, don't forget, we've got some gyrocopters. They'll come deep striking from somewhere on the board. I believe it's over there. They'll come out here, there, and try and draw some of these units away, allowing the heavy weaponry to come charging through. So fairly evenly weighted, as you'd expect. It's only turn 3. We've got turn 4 coming up shortly. Okay, so I made a mistake at the end of the last session just then. I'm not actually up to turn 4, that was actually the first half of turn 3. I've now done the second half of turn 3. Problem here is that I've taken about a week off while this battle's been going. I've had some other things to do, but this battle's spanning a few weeks. But anyway, we've had the squats have their turn. Now let me move across the board here. Over this side we had this unit of squat guardsmen fire in and take out 2 Necrons just there. We had this unit here fire into that group there, and there was a couple of bodyguards there, they were taken out. Then these, I think they're Hearthguard, they assaulted that unit and they didn't do so well, so that's fairly weighted in front of the Necrons. These units here, all that, fired in and really didn't do a lot into a group. They only took out some Scarabs in the end. I had a little storyline element where this dude here ventured into the pub just here, and I haven't actually worked out the storyline, but no doubt there would be some ale consumed. Over this side we had Dreadnought and heavy weapons fire into taking out a destroyer, heavy destroyer that was there. They also got fired upon by the Land Raider there. The big play was the mining laser basically taking out the obelisk. This group of squats just ran up and using the Land Raider as cover. Over this side, this unit was in combat with the Wraiths. They withdrew from combat, allowing this unit here to fire upon them, cleaning up the Wraiths. The squat bikers here basically got out of the way, came down and fired into some warriors there. Didn't really take out as much as they thought they would. At this stage the squats have got their numbers, but the Necrons really haven't done a lot of damage yet, but it's going to change next turn. We did have some deep striking. We had some gyrocopters come down and take out a couple of warriors. Likewise, the Easter eggs, which I call them, I really can't remember what they are. They're obviously got some form of heavy weapon armour. Came and fired on the warriors as well, taking a few out, so they come from behind the squats as well. So squats all over the board, but we've got some heavy firepower for the Necrons. They'll take some numbers off the squats, and we've also got like a shard in the middle and a couple of key characters to the Necrons. So no doubt they'll be able to take some casualties out next turn. Okay, now we really do have the first half of turn 4 coming up shortly. Right, here we are at the end of the first half of turn 4. Finally got my turns right. So this turn we saw the pretty much dormant Necrons absolutely unleash on the squats, decimating what they've got. So we had these two units of warriors turn round, face the deep striking gyrocopters and Easter egg squats, and they took out one flyer and one of the heavy armoured squats there. So no doubt these squats are going to try and get into combat over here. They're all adorned with various power fists, tankers full of mead, etc. Moving over this side of the board, we saw these Necron warriors fire in and take out what was the remaining squats that were in combat with the Wraiths. We saw there was a whole heap of bikers just here. They got fired upon by Spider warriors and finally assaulted by the Necron Lord and retinue, and that basically took out all those bikers. We've got, I think they're called an Ancient, this guy. So he's still hanging around, so no doubt he's going to drop some wheelies and stuff like that and just sort of, I don't know where he's going to go. That'll be next turn. We had the big tank in the middle here that was fired upon by the Annihilation Barge. We had a unit of squats there that was assaulted by this unit here. The Dreadnought there just wasn't quite in combat, so just missed out. We had these death marks shoot and take out one squat over here. Over this side, try to reach across the table here, we had this unit of warriors. While it was over there, they were going to face off against those guys, but basically doubled back here and joined forces with the Destroyer Lord and took out the heavy weapons batteries that were just sitting there. So they targeted those. There was a combat between these two here and a Hearthguard. The last Hearthguard, that's now destroyed, but they're hugely exposed to all that, which is going to come their way. So Necrons took out quite a lot. Looking at the casualty section over here, they got taken out, and these guys here. So that was a lot of squats going down that turn. Necrons really stamping their authority, but look, there's some heavy weapon batteries still here for the squats. we'll see if they can fight back. We've got the second half of turn 4 coming up shortly. Okay, end of turn 4, and the squats have taken out quite a few Necrons. Let's just move across the board. We had the Ancient in the trike, driving from around here, did a big donut, came around there and just hid behind this squad here. Those guys fired upon the Necron Lord, took out one of the guards. These squads here tried to have a go at the Shard, didn't really do too much damage. We had this mining laser fire and take out a barge that was hiding just next to that pillar there. Over here there was a bunch of HQ units for the Necrons. They got taken apart by rampaging squat dreadnought, so they did pretty well. Over this side of the board, heavily controlled by the squats, there were two Necron HQ units there. They were fired upon by this group and then followed up and assaulted by that group. This group here took out 3 Necron warriors, and these guys here also took out some Necron warriors, leaving the Destroyer Lord sitting there by himself. So that's what we have on this side of the board. Just moving over here, the gyrocopters came flying in from this side of the board and fired upon a Necron warrior group which was there, because they were followed up and assaulted by a bunch of Easter eggs. So squats doing pretty well on that side of the board. Still quite a few Necrons on the board, and they've got those Gorse weaponry which should rip the squats apart. We'll wait and see what happens. We've got turn 5 coming up shortly. Here we are at the end of the first half of turn 5. Necrons having a last ditch effort. Actually they've got another turn 6 to come, but they have shot quite a few squats. Look, we had the spider just behind that crystal there, came out behind this group of warriors and took out the gyrocopters. Gyrocopters. Don't know. Those two guys. Anyway, the Easter egg sitting out in the middle there just proved to be too big a target. They had to be taken out, so we got some fire from the warriors here, and the Necron Destroyer Lord was up here. Had a choice of facing all that or getting involved over there. Came back this way, hid behind that crystal there, fired and took out one of those guys. So look, that's pretty threatening up there for the squats. Moving over this side of the board, we had the warriors advance here, took out a bunch of squats from that unit, and then we had the Shard, basically the Deceiver, charged into combat there and took out the giant big mining laser there. So we also had Necron Lord charge into combat and take out a whole unit by himself, so good job. Also we had some death marks, fire and take out the Mechanicus squat there. So that's what we've got. We've got Necrons had their turn. They took out quite a few. We've still got a few units of squats here. We've got the Easter eggs there, and then we've got all this round here. So still fairly evenly weighted, probably in favour of the squats. We've got second half of turn 5 coming up shortly. Okay, here we are at the end of the first half of turn 5, actually second half of turn 5. We've got turn 6 yet to go. So here's the board at this stage. We've had the squats have their turn. We'll move around the board. We had this unit of squats with the HQ units there, all with power fists, went charging into the Necron Lord. Only took out one of the bodyguards and lost a few in the process. But hey, that's what squats do. Over here we had Dreadnought and the Ancient on the tricycle, on the trike there, charging into combat with a Shard after it was fired upon by the pirates over here. So they took down the Shard, took so much fire. Over here we've got a whole stack of squats left untouched at this stage, and they fired upon death marks over here and they were hidden behind that tree really, and only one of them got taken out. That group of squats actually tried to take out the Necron Lord, Destroyer Lord just there, but didn't do it. Over this side we had the squats in heavy armour come charging the Necron warriors, took out a whole heap. So that's a pretty good strategic move of deep striking those guys in. They are causing some havoc now. So at this stage my money's on the squats. They've got heaps of numbers up the back there and pretty much contesting all areas. Yes, there's a few Necron squads around the place, but it's looking in favour of the squats. We've got one turn to go. We'll see what the Necrons can pull out. Here we are at the end of the first half of turn 6, and the Necrons have really made a comeback in this turn. It looked like game over, but they have consolidated and give themselves half a chance. We have the Necron Lord here and his 2 remaining bodyguard stay in combat with there's a group of squats there. They took them out, only losing 1 bodyguard, but now they're exposed to an assault from those 2 units there. Over here we had this group of Necrons fire into that group over there, taking out 1 squat, and these guys here, death marks, came across and took 1 squat out from the front of that unit just there, just sticking his nose out. Over this side they had enough of those Easter eggs, so the entire mass of all of that converged and took out the Easter eggs, and that is looking in control of the Necrons there. So that's really what it was for turn 6. At this stage it looks fairly even as far as units remaining, and we'll have to see what the squats can do in the final turn. We'll see if they can salvage a win. Okay, the last half of turn 6 coming up shortly. Well, subscribers, that's the end of the battle. It's the end of turn 6. I've got the flu and I've had enough. Look, it's just been a long battle. It's taken probably 3 weeks to make this one, and I've had a bit of illness over that time. But anyway, stop whinging. Let's have a look at the last part of the board. As it's finished off, we've had the squats have their final turn. There was a group of pirates, these guys here. They were all sitting out the front. They fired upon 2 death marks, or 3 death marks actually there. They took 1 out. Found they've finished their obligations for the battle, so they headed into the pub there for a mead. Then down here we had the Dreadnought and the Ancient on the bike come here and take out the guard, the bodyguard of the Necron Lord. Necron Lord survived, teleported out. I'll pick up his storyline shortly, but they basically won that combat. Over this side we've got some 3 units here of squats just up there, which are pretty well intact. This first unit at the front here fired and took out the 2 remaining death marks, and those 2 squads there basically fired upon this group of Necron warriors and took out, I think it was 3. So overall, Necrons on the back foot. They teleported into this pyramid, their home, found it's overrun by squats. Squats managed to kick the Necrons out, and they get to convert this pyramid back into something the Emperor would be happy with. So now the Necrons are going to teleport out of here, and there's just going to be a short storyline as far as, you know, those Necrons on the old world of Periculo. So I won't give too much away. That'll be for the following week. You can have a look at that. Thanks for watching. That is the end of the second half of turn 6 and the battle. Thanks for watching. See you next week.